Travis Scott.
Yeah,
He
Travis
starts the
Scott.
movie and he was just in 2 scenes just banging that stick on the ground, just trying to give like
Yeah.
a rally speech basically. But alrighty, boys, where do we begin with this one? Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. We just got done watching it. 3 hours long, a little bit of a drag to get through, but what was your guys' initial thoughts? What'd you think about it?
I thought it was I thought it was good. I thought it took me a minute to get into like the story and figure out like the characters. I know the Odyssey obviously like a massive story. People read it in like high school and stuff or in school. So, but I never did, and I never really knew like a lot of the characters and stuff. So I was kind of coming in this blind, pretty much.
Right.
But you know, just like Christopher Nolan, it's like a event when he films a movie. So obviously coming off of like Oppenheimer last year, and was that last year or 2 years ago? I think that was like 2 years ago at this point. God.
2-3 years.
Yeah. But yeah, coming off that, so yeah, I was interested. I've heard good things going in, so yeah, I liked it though.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I don't really know the source material of the Odyssey. I feel like if you did know that, you would have been able to understand it a lot more.
Yeah.
I feel like the storyline of it was a little broken up and a little hard to follow. And I kind of had this issue in Oppenheimer. I feel like with Christopher Nolan, like my biggest complaints about some of his movies is that it's like a little disjointed and hard to understand. Like I feel like the line delivery is so quiet sometimes. It's like hard to hear what the characters are saying.
Yeah, it's a common complaint sometimes with Christopher Nolan movies. His like audio mix he has.
Yeah, I had that problem with Oppenheimer where I feel like the line delivery, like a lot of the characters are so like, I feel like a lot of the characters are like really stoic and the line delivery is like really flat and the audio is so low. You can't understand like what they're saying or really hear what they're saying.
I feel like that was more of a problem towards the beginning of the movie, but by about mid to the end too, I felt like it was fine after that.
Yep. One thing I will give it is that I was worried that similar to Oppenheimer, that the cast was just so loaded that it was just going to rely on all these like A-list actors, but it really didn't. Like there was a lot of moments where, or a lot of the actors that were in it just didn't have very much to do. Like Zendaya as Athena, I feel like she was only in maybe like 8 scenes and had like 10 lines.
Yeah.
And every single scene she was in, she was more just like a vision of Athena that only Odysseus was seeing.
Yeah.
So they really didn't rely on the big names too much. Like Robert Pattinson, he didn't play a very huge role. Really, the only people that played a big role were like Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, and Matt Damon, really.
Yep.
All the other actors that were in it, like Lupita, she didn't really do much. I feel like she was in like 2 or 3 scenes. John Bernthal didn't play a huge role.
But I feel like they did their part though. It's not like someone was just shoehorned in for like nothing. Maybe Zendaya with like Athena, but I
Or
think
like
that's
Travis Scott.
Yeah,
He
Travis
starts the
Scott.
movie and he was just in 2 scenes just banging that stick on the ground, just trying to give like a rally speech basically. But I like that they didn't rely on them too much, but it just seemed like a lot of them just didn't have very much to do or a very big role to play.
I feel like everyone gave a good performance, especially Matt Damon. I think that's the main lead. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, I thought he did better in the second half than the first half. Again, I don't really think it relied on like very prominent acting roles. Like I feel like I don't think anybody gave like the performance of a lifetime in this movie. Like I feel like Matt Damon in the back half, like the kind of climax of the movie when he finally like made his return and he like strung the bow at the end and the big fight breaks out. I feel like that was probably the best acting of the movie.
I thought he was good throughout. I thought he was definitely my favorite character, like who gave the best performance of my.
Oh yeah, he gave the best performance by a mile. The only other argument would be like maybe Anne Hathaway or Tom Holland. But
yeah,
I feel
Tom
like
Holland was good too.
Yeah, I feel like they did decent, but I feel like my main complaint with the movie, it was just very like disjointed. Like there was just like, I get what they were trying to do. It was jumping between the past and the present. I don't know. I feel like it was hard to understand the plot of like what was going on or what they were trying to achieve or what their goal was. It wasn't a bad movie. I just feel like I was bored through most of it. I was just like sitting there like, what's
I didn't
going
really
on?
have that issue. I think like if you watched it again, maybe because a lot of times his movies, like watching Oppenheimer the first time, you're not going to get everything the first watch.
Yeah, that is one thing I was going to say. This is definitely a movie that you'd have to see multiple times or know the source material going in, so it's easier to follow.
I think if I watched it again, I could follow it for sure a lot better because I would like know more of the characters
100%.
already, and so yeah, that's how I think it would go.
Yep, like one of the moments that was just like really confusing was when they were in the cave with the big Cyclops monster.
Yep.
And I don't know, it was just very like, it was just weird. They got like stuck in that cave, but I don't know why they were in there to begin with. I feel like they followed that sheep in there.
Yep,
Because they said there should be a flock.
Yep.
For
They're waiting
food.
for food. Yeah.
Right. So, but then they were just like, I don't know.
Then they got stuck in there because that Cyclops. Well, they were waiting for the owner. Then all those sheep came in, and then he walked in. Obviously, the Cyclops. So they were kind of stuck.
I just feel like that was so like drawn out. like them being in there. They were in there for like multiple times, and they were in there for like multiple nights, and it just got like dragged out. I don't know. It was just weird.
It was loud in that scene. You were saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
If you're gonna see this in IMAX, pack your earplugs, because golly,
when he was screaming because he stabbed him in the eye.
In just random moments. That's another kind of issue I have with the movie. In the most random moments, the volume just gets dialed up to like 10,000 for no reason at all.
Yep.
But then there's other moments where it's like so hard to hear what the characters are saying. So like, I don't know, the audio of the movie was so weird to me.
Yeah, just to touch up on like the acting. I think it was pretty good on like everybody. I think they all did their part pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody acted poorly.
Yeah.
But again, it didn't rely on like incredible performances at all. Like it was pretty straightforward.
I think it was like kind of whatever they were going for is like is what they got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they weren't having that like creativity to do like kind of anything they wanted.
Yeah, there wasn't a bunch of deep like emotional scenes or like anything where anybody.
Yeah, there was.
That,
the dog.
when he came back in the dog, and the
yeah.
dog was just laying out there, and then it
Yep.
kind of wagged its tail because it knows like Odysseus, obviously.
Right,
So yeah, that was a little.
Yeah,
touch in
that
there.
was decent. But yeah, again, that just like that stuff like from like the last 45 minutes. I feel like that was where the best acting came out, was in the last like 45 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I feel
in
like
that-
the
in
third
that
act,
final act.
Yeah,
when
I
he
feel like that
returned
whole
to the
third
movie.
act was like not just the acting, but the story, the movie itself. I thought was like really good.
That was definitely the best moments. Was the last like 40 minutes of the movie.
When he strung that bow and then shot that dude. It's like, what did he say? Like,
Yeah,
you
that was
must be
good.
Odysseus.
He was
or
like, you're Odysseus, and he
and
just
then
gets cut off. Yeah, it was like
people
Jace
like
from
in the
House of the
theater,
Dragon.
like kind of jump back.
Yeah. That was definitely kind of like the most exciting moment of the movie for sure.
And then that whole like I like the audio too when the fight was happening. It was building that like drum like beat the whole time. It was kind of jumping back and forth between him and then Tom Holland's character who was fighting that dude up in like the top,
like the armory room, and then they were throwing weapons down through that hole. Yep. I feel like the score there, like the music was really good.
I thought the music kind of throughout too, like the score, like when they were on the boat with like the whole like whirlpool thing, and then like, just like they was using that like drum beat the whole time, which I thought like matching with the rowing like those guys were doing.
Yep, positives of the movie for sure. I definitely thought the costuming was really good. I thought the like cinematography was really good. The props, the sets, I thought all of that looked really great. I don't think they relied too much on CGI or anything.
Yeah,
like a lot of it was shot on location,
practical.
Yep, and they used a lot of practical effects. Like I heard with the Cyclops, that was like a big. I don't know if "dummy" is the proper word, but like the Cyclops they used. Obviously, they touched it up a little bit with CGI, but that was like an animatronic thing that they were using.
Like, and those guys in the woods. Remember when they found that kid? They looked kind of
tall.
tall.
Yeah.
Those were
like
actually
giants.
like huge.
Those knights they were fighting.
Obviously, they probably touched up with a little like CG to make them a little bigger, but those were like massive dudes in those like in the armor. I saw from like behind the scenes. I think Gregor the Mountain. I think he was one of them.
Clegane.
Yeah, because he's like massive. Obviously, in real life, he's like 6'11" or something. Huge. I felt like just the cinematography. He's always got that. He's one of the best.
You can expect that with
best.
Nolan. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, really, my only complaints is like some of the audio problems, and then just the storyline being like a little disjointed and kind of hard to follow.
Yeah.
Notice his like crew really never wanted to do what he wanted to do towards the end.
Yeah,
they were just kind of like fed up with what he was doing.
Yeah, and I think that's in the story. Obviously, like he's the only one that really makes it out of there. His whole out of his whole crew.
Right.
So just throughout the movie, we just saw them just get.
That was the biggest thing. Their main goal of the movie was trying to make it home after that Battle of Troy. Right.
Battle of Troy.
Yeah, they were trying to make it back. So that was kind of like the main plot we were following, and it was kind of jumping around between all those moments from the past.
Yep, he's like those legendary like trials they called it, like the Cyclops, the Circe, like the one that was making them eat and they turned into animals and stuff.
Yeah, that was
really weird.
That was so weird. That was such a weird scene. That kind of threw me for a loop. That kind of threw me off when she was turning them to animals as they were eating.
Yeah, that was a weird scene.
Yeah, that was so weird. Yeah,
I don't know how they went out back, seeing all like the armored shields on the ground, didn't like question it.
They did like show that one dude like looking at it, but then they ended up just walking back in there.
Yeah, I think they were just starving to the point that they were just like, because you saw how like they were like animals when they were eating.
Yeah, eating.
Yeah.
And then when they were walking up to, they saw the lion. They saw like a cheetah.
Yeah, that was weird to me. They just saw all those like wild animals.
It was kind of foreshadowing because she turned like because they end up showing Odysseus shooting that deer, and then it turns into like a human
back
when
into
it goes,
a man. Yeah.
So it kind of was like foreshadowing there.
Yeah, right.
I think that's a lot lot too. If we watched it again, there's a lot of like foreshadowing moments I think that we would probably pick up on. And then it kind of threw me because I didn't read the story or anything, but at the end I thought he was gonna die in her arms.
Right.
But then it ends
after
up
that
switching
long
that.
journey home, I was like, no way, he's just about to die right here after all that.
Yep, and then obviously it kind of cuts, and then he's on the ship with her, like because they were talking about like sailing west.
Going to the west, paying respect to his fallen soldiers.
Yep.
Yep,
So,
and Tom Holland was the king at the end.
becomes king of that. Like, was it Ithaca? It's like the city.
The city they were at,
All right, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. What would you guys give its rating?
I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. Like visually, it was like really, really good. A lot of the good actors made it pretty nice. I think their acting was pretty solid. There was a little bit of confusion on like kind of the storytelling and kind of like getting an idea like where you are, what you're doing. But I think it wasn't too crazy to follow.
I think by the end, I was really picking it up, like, or at least midway through, I was really starting to kind of understand it more. But yeah, at first it took a second to get into.
Yeah, it's just
changed. Not really like the visual of it, but the idea or concept of like that man-eating thing whenever they avoided the whirlpool.
Yeah.
That thing in the mountain, like I guess it was supposed to have like dragon heads maybe.
Oh, really? Like in the original story you're talking about?
I think so, but this one was kind of like a weird, different looking.
It kind of looks like a spider.
That
legs.
spider, like snake monster that was just like snatching the shoulders off.
And that's
the boat.
another thing. Or Odysseus like said like because he knew that from when that like ghost or whatever told him that.
Yeah.
But again, like he didn't tell his crew that they were gonna hit that.
Yeah, trick him.
So,
and that scene with the siren song when they tied him to the mast and he was like screaming because he was like the only person to ever survive this.
I thought the audio was cool in that scene. Kind of how those guys were putting wax and it was just kind of like,
and it was like they had their ears plugged.
But him, like it's obviously some like loud scream, just like And then that one dude took out the wax and then jumped off the boat.
It was like that white noise. So out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's one of Christopher Nolan's strongest movies. I thought it was decent. Again, like I said, if I knew the source material going in, it'd be a little bit easier to follow. Like the plot was like a little disjointed. I get what they were trying to do, jumping back and forth a lot between the past and the present, telling the story of them returning. Really, my only main complaint is like the audio thing. Like I feel like certain points were really loud and then certain points with like line delivery and stuff were really low. And it was kind of hard to understand what was going on and follow along. But I think like the sets, the props were really good. They didn't rely too much on the A-list actors. Like there was Zendaya, like we said, only had like 8 scenes and like 10 lines. So they didn't really rely on the A-listers too much. Like they didn't lean on that. Overall, I think it was just a decent movie. I'd probably put it on the same level as like Oppenheimer.
I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, I thought it was like, again, with the cinematography, like Christopher Nolan always is one of the best at that, if not the best. And then it did take me a minute to get into the story and kind of understand, because again, I never read like the Odyssey or knew the backstory, so I was going blind with that. But yeah, after like about midway through, I would say I really started picking up on the story, started to know more of the characters and stuff. So, and then I thought the last like the third act of the movie, if you would say, I thought that was like really strong. That was really up there.
The back half of the movie was definitely way stronger than the front half.
Yeah.
It had me somewhat bored in the first half of the movie, but then the second half of the movie, it definitely started to pick up the pace a little bit more. And that final act when he finally returned to the city was definitely the best moment of the entire movie, when he strung the bow and they had some of those callbacks and like when they were in the boat at the end. Alrighty, guys, that is going to do it for our review of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. If you guys did enjoy it, please leave a thumbs up down below. Let us know in the comment section what you guys thought. Come back next week for more content. Peace.